And we're back. Welcome to the Donald Kent Lounge. Hey guys, what's going on? So, in this part of the story, there's obviously firemen putting out a building that the main character smashed into this building earlier in the story, and then entered into the underground cavern of the bad guys, and so we're returning to the surface where this is the scene, and believe it or not, there's an elevator that comes up out of the ground where the good guy comes back out. But there are these Karens here on the scene, and they're kind of harassing this black fire chief dude here. And he's like, what? Like, you got to get out of here. This is unsafe. And turns out that these Karens are actually androids. And it's part of the humor of the book. It plays off of just pop culture, political culture. Hey, look who's here! We got a guest. Let's add him. Did it add? Are you there? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Imminent Reign. Hey, bro.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah, how you doing, man? Where you been? How come you don't call no more? Huh? What's the matter, you?
Hey, I've been a little busy.
Yeah,
I had to go swim with the fishes.
yeah. I had to give this guy some concrete shoes. You know what I mean? Hey. So it's just you and me. There's nobody in the chat yet. I just started, but that's perfectly fine because this show will
Right on.
live on in all of history. I'm just going over the pages and the scenes, and it's action. It's coming down the line here, so it's going to be fun. How you been, man?
I've been really good, dude.
What's
I'm
shaking?
just well, gosh, dude.
How's
The other
your?
day,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, hold that thought.
Yeah. I
The
just
other
wanted to ask
day,
about your project, but go on first. The other day.
oh, it's going good.
Cool.
The other day I was working on my project, and
All right.
it was one of those days where I have a weird like midday route for my
Oh,
job,
okay, sure.
and and I only had like an hour to write, and I was like, well, I'll get motivated and I'll get right into it, and I'll just go as much as I can,
Sure.
and I happened to be working on the scene that is like the climax scene of my book.
Very cool. Very
And
cool.
so I got really into it. And then
Yes.
about the time that I was supposed to be getting ready to go back to work,
Mm-hmm.
I had just gotten in the flow
Yeah.
state,
Oh, dude.
Oh,
I
dude,
know.
it was so terrible. And so I was late getting back to work because I couldn't
Ooh.
finish until I could like get to a point to where I could leave off,
Yeah.
And
That's tough.
and then I was like, well, it's okay. It'll be fine because I can like shave a few minutes here and there
Sure.
off of my pre-trip and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get out and it had dumped snow on us. And so I
Oh,
had to do like an extra like several minutes of scraping ice.
I
And then
totally
I
know what
drive.
that's like. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, then I
It
drive to
screws you up.
work.
Yeah.
And then I get to work and then dude, there was ice also on the windshield of my bus and I was like trying to clear the ice out of the
Oh,
wipers.
oh
And I
God.
was like trying to like and I ended up
Uh,
like the whole wiper came off. I was like, no.
no.
And then I
Oh.
was like, and then I called we have radios on our buses, and I
Yeah.
called the mechanics. I was like, hey, you guys got windshield wipers? And they're like, oh yeah, drive on in. So I drove in, and dude, these guys are like pros, man. They're like a pit crew. Like they had it done within like
Nice.
minutes, and I ended up only being like 1 minute late for the
Wow.
one kid that I was supposed to pick up for my
Oh
midday
Lord.
route.
Oh Lord.
And
Oh gosh.
and it was great, but I just felt so frustrated because like when you get in the flow state, you want to keep going.
Dude, the
It felt
struggle's
like
real.
me and the missus were about to get it on and the kids came and interrupted. You know what I'm saying?
That
It's like
is
that kind of.
man, only artists can really understand like the agony of that. It's hard to even it's its own kind of suffering, it's like a type of an existential angst that you feel because this is actually what's important in our lives, is our art.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
not fucking worker ants, we don't exist to make money. We have a deeper meaning and purpose in our lives. And
Exactly.
when the muse hits, you got to grab it, you got to capitalize on it. And so it's tough. I've had countless times where I was in similar situations where, like, okay, I really, really need to draw, or I need to get this thing down, whatever the thing is. Maybe I'm writing a song or something, and I'm watching the clock, and the mood is there, whatever, the muse is there. So I'm sorry that happened to you, but it seems like you kind of scraped by the skin of your teeth there. You just kind of
I
made it
did. I
made it
did,
under
but
the
it
wire.
taught me, yeah, it taught me a valuable lesson. And I think,
And the lesson was quit your job, right?
honestly,
I
and
was
I don't
kidding.
want to give away too much,
I was kidding.
but
So go ahead.
I do feel okay. So this is the problem.
Uh,
The job that I have was never intended to be full-time employment. Most of the people
uh,
that do it
yeah.
are retired.
Oh.
And because of that, in order to make it full-time employment, I end up having to work a bunch of extra hours.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And that I end up with only a couple hours a day to work on my art if I'm lucky, right?
Okay.
And that's with me neglecting exercise. That's
Yep.
with me neglecting my chores,
Ah, shit. Yeah.
uh, neglecting doctor's appointments
Oh God.
and yeah. So it's like, uh, I think the problem is I'm just not making enough money because it wasn't designed to be that kind of a job, unfortunately. It's
Okay.
one of those things where they want retired people because retired people, they could take advantage of them
Uh-huh.
and they don't have to pay them a livable wage because it's not their only source of
I
income.
totally get it. I see your point. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
So I
mean,
don't know.
if
I feel like I'm stuck, but
are there
I have a
advantages?
solution,
Oh, what's your solution?
bro. I think I'm going to become a teacher.
Oh, wow. Like what kind of teacher?
Honestly, the thing I'm most interested in is art,
Oh
but
God.
I would like to be able to teach English and some other
Mhm.
subjects too in case I
All right.
can't find employment.
So I have a massive background in that. I think you know that, right? Do you know that?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. So I taught English as a second language for 7 years. Let me quick say hello to Lexi. Welcome, Lexi. It's lovely to have you here. And hey, so how did you find my channel, Lexi? I'm just curious. Been getting a ton of new subscribers and guests, and my chats are very cozy and very friendly. A lot of engagement and interaction. So anytime you want to ask a question or bring up a topic of any kind, feel free. It's a chat room. So, but until then, I will respond to you, Luke. So I taught English as a second language for 7 years, and that's a whole thing in and of itself. I don't know if that's what you meant by teaching English, because that's obviously teaching foreigners. And I don't know that you want to help foreigners at all to you know what I'm saying.
Well
I mean,
put.
like, yeah, I mean, if I were king, I would ban teaching English. I would like in America. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I literally would, and then make everything English, like all medical forms, all welfare forms, everything. But that's another topic. So as far as teaching normal English, or what we went to school for, I don't have any background in that. However, so I went back to school to be an art teacher.
Did you do
Hmm.
art ed? Is that
So
was that your degree?
it's technically called art education, yes, and
Okay, that's what I'm
it's
interested in.
yeah, it's teaching K to 12, kindergarten to 12th grade. So there's a just we got a lot to cover as far as like this particular topic. Um, so where do I begin? So I'm gonna start from the end and backwards design into the beginning, kind of. Okay. Now
Cool. Yeah.
I that because that's the thing to do. So I don't know sort of what things are like where you live in terms of availabilities exist, what kind of demographic you're working with, um, blah blah blah, all of that. Because like where I live, a lot of it is babysitting gangsters and like all the
Ah.
good cushy jobs, all the sweet jobs in the suburbs with the white kids are taken, and you're not going to be able to try to even apply for that kind of work until somebody dies or retires, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then when you do, you're competing against every single teacher in your area that are all dying to get that cushy job.
Oh yeah.
So you can imagine there's of course going to be politics involved. What kind of people, like where I worked when I finally did get a teaching job in English, or started that in teaching art. How can I say? I got on the whatever the board is called for hiring, because
Ah.
I wanted to have a say in like who's coming into school,
Yeah.
and like so like if and when you get a job, you totally want to do that. You want to have you want to be in there, and like of course I was trying to get a job for a buddy of mine that I went to uh, a school with, and instead they hired some gay guy, for that position. And you know, it's like a very, very liberal uh, people and women on the panel, and it's just a weird thing that I don't want to go down that road too far in terms of like why or how that happened, but you don't want gays around children. That's a very bad idea. You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like,
I I
but
concur.
yeah, yeah, and like so one of the dangers of the education field, especially in like K to 12, is it's very female dominated. That would be fine if our education system wasn't overrun by feminists and
Sure.
this
Yeah.
kind of like this these kind of Marxists. So um you have to see yourself as like you're going into a field where there's it's predominantly these feminists, and they're going to look at you in two ways. You're either a handsome hunk that they want to flirt with on the side, or you're a creep who is already guilty because you're a man and men are all evil.
Yeah.
So
I'll be
that's
that
the
second guy.
yeah, that's the work culture. That's the
Yeah.
cultural
Yeah.
environment of like being specifically an art teacher, because you're expected as an art teacher to be like super liberal, and all the horse shit that goes along with that. Now I understand where you live. It's probably not super liberal. I would assume.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's the other complication though, is it
mhm,
seems like in my area,
yeah,
uh, the actual open positions are pretty limited because from talking to teachers in my area, it's very
yeah,
difficult to find a position because it's like a small rural town. It is growing a lot,
okay, yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like, yeah, we don't have the problems with like it's not like, Southern California or New York or any place like that as far as like
yeah.
the politics and the demographics. But on the other hand, like I don't know for sure if I'll be able to find work in the
Yeah.
area that I'm in anyway.
So these are serious conditions. You like one of the things you want to do before you get into any field, go to college for anything, is to get do like pretty heavy research on in the job market and look at who's hiring and what are the
Hmm.
requirements. And that's where
Yeah.
you fucking start. You don't start by like, oh, I'm just gonna trust the college system to like teach me the things I know or that I need to know, and then I'll just magically get a job with it because I trust the system. That's completely not how it works. So,
Yeah.
like, I just, for example, when I went in my state, if you have an art education degree, you have to get a master's. Like the state forces you to, which is obviously bullshit. And I took an education. So I have a master's in educational technology. I figured
Okay.
like that's a nice fallback on kind of thing. I could probably angle that for something else. Another kind of job, and it's obviously useful within the teaching world. But
Yeah.
so I'm doing my master's, racking up, who knows how much in freaking student loans and shit, and I get through, I don't know, the first year, and I'm really like, you know what, this teacher, like he's just like a goofball, and he doesn't. I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna start looking for jobs in this field now,
Hmm.
because like in one more year of this, and I'll be out there, XYZ, whatever, something. And I start looking through all the, whatever the opportunities, and they're saying in order to, get this job, you need to know like all these 10 different softwares. And we weren't learning any of them in the program. And
Mm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
these fuckers are lying to us. They're fucking lying and cheating us. That this is bullshit. It's just a big game. And
Yeah.
I'm like, at that moment I was livid, like livid. I'm like, you fuckers, you're making me go to school for this, and then to what? To fail, to not get a job. Like, you just, you can only imagine, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, you want to kind of look at it like that. Now, one of the sort of alternatives to teaching in a normal school environment is teaching, and this is not the optimal thing to do, but I did it for many years, and that is teaching summer camps, adult learning education, evening classes, after school classes, all of this stuff. So their jobs, they pay, but there's no benefits, there's no blah blah blah. It is what it is. It's not like it's not an actual job in that sense. So um you might find that, you know, that's not a terrible thing. You can cobble together so many hours and, make a decent penny from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It looks
Um
like Jason Gamer just subbed, and Robert has some really good comments here. I don't know if you
okay,
can see those.
Jason Gamer. Hey Jason, good to see you here. First of all, let me ask you, Jason, how did you find this channel? I'm really trying to find out how the algorithm is working. Um so I'll give these guys a little look at some other comics work I got here. Let's see what Robert has to say. Good to have you again, Robert. Thanks for the email you sent me. Says, I think he says, when I start my art school degree will not be required, but experience in the field will be. So, like, art is definitely one of the hardest things to be in and to try to make money in. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie, kind of deal. And you have to understand that while you may be an artist, teaching isn't making art. And I know that that sounds very like almost
No,
facetious or
it's
something.
no, it's true.
It's yeah. So like it's not it's I gotta say it's kind of a kind of a glorified babysitting job in a way, unless you're
Yeah.
working. Yeah, unless you're working for like an art institute where the students come because they're already artists and they want to really, really grow as artists. You understand?
Yeah, I'll
Those are
bet
the
those
ones.
jobs are really hard to get into as well. Really competitive for that kind of thing.
Well, is there anything like that around where you live
Oh
for
gosh,
starters?
not that I know of. Really,
Okay.
the main reason I've I'm making this decision is because
Yeah.
I had to take a hard look at what my options
Mhm.
are. Like I could drive
Yeah.
city bus, and I actually think I would hate that. It's more time in the chair.
Yeah.
You don't get to know your passengers. Um, I looked at
Hmm.
being a truck driver. It's way too
Hmm.
much time in the chair, way too much,
It's pretty
time
bad
away
for your
from.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I looked at, trying to learn a trade, and honestly, my body's a little too beat up from martial arts
Mm. Yeah.
to
Yeah. I
really
get
put
it,
it
man.
through a lot of that stuff. I looked at
Sure.
being a pilot, and the barrier to entry is too high because I don't have that kind of money to
Okay.
so I've looked at a bunch of different things, and when I'm driving bus, the best part of that for me is interacting with the kids,
Okay.
honestly. And if I could do a lot more of that, even if it is like, dealing with like the rambunctious kids and stuff, I just feel like I'm better
Hmm.
suited for that than I am for most other kinds of work.
Interesting. Um, I think. Well, here's an idea. So, um, most schools and towns or whatever will have things like YMCA's and youth centers and after school summer arts programs, etc. I feel like you could cobble together a like some art classes and some kung fu classes for kids, and then you could, you know, have that as a kind of a side gig on top of what you're currently doing. Um, obviously everything is like trading time for dollars, and that's always kind of a pain in terms of like, just fucking survival. Um, but if this is something you enjoy and you like, and you want to kind of put your talents to some sort of use, pass it on. The other thing too is that you may end up actually getting your own students. So like when I taught adult learning art classes,
Hmm.
I had my students to be like, hey, let's why are we giving money to the school system? Why don't we just, like you teach us privately? We won't tell them. you know and like
Wow.
I had them over
Yeah.
to my house, and then I just went like full on with the art lessons. And no, these were for obviously the people that were more serious and wanted to do, they really, really genuinely wanted to grow and become artists.
Yeah.
Um, so you, it, you're basically using the after school teaching gig as a way of finding students to build up your own business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
I
strategy.
like that. I've had a couple I've had some recent failures with trying to get things going in my own area with the kung fu, and even
Yeah.
with teaching guitar. And you know,
See, there's another one. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's just I think it's the area that I'm in. It's very rural,
Mhm.
and people in this area, there's not a lot of support for entertainment or the arts. Like most people, for fun, they you know they don't go and see bands, or they don't go to museums. What they do is they get a six pack and they go fishing, or they go hunting and stuff, which is cool. I wish I was more into that stuff, but
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other kind of an issue. I mean, you got to essentially be inventive. I mean,
yeah.
if you're in a sort of a country culture, I'm just showing some pages here for Jason, because Jason seems to be really into the arts here,
Oh,
um,
dude, these are
and so
fantastic.
just trying to give him a look at like the pages that I've been doing so far. for this comic book. Now, I didn't write this. This is a freelance job. These I designed the characters, but it's you know, I guess I have like, I don't want to say ownership, but like I'll be getting, like residuals and stuff, a dollar a book or whatever they make, from sales. So, but I just figured since we got some new folks here, they don't have to just watch me scratch along. But
Yeah, no, this is really cool because a lot of this stuff I haven't seen.
oh, really? Okay. There's
Yeah,
Apollo.
I haven't seen like the finished product of a lot of this stuff, and it's like I saw that one with the dome and
Yeah.
the Adam and Eve scene. I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah. Yeah.
you working on that, but I never saw it finished, and this
Uh,
is incredible, dude.
oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, the writer is extremely imaginative. I believe he actually he has some background in like script writing in Hollywood, to be honest. So he's a pretty awesome writer and highly imaginative, knows a lot about just esoteric symbolism, etc. This there's a lot going on in the book that it's just too complex for me to explain. Um, yeah. So my arts Robert Pyle says my art school will be more like a traditional atelier school. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to do like a quote real art school, with real students and real techniques, and it's not a babysitting class, essentially, that's phenomenal. Like that's kind of stuff that Luke and I would like to go to. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, big
I
time.
love your panel design in these, by the way, dude, with the diagonal lines.
Yeah. So that you're touch. We're changing topics a little bit, but like panel design is one of the exciting parts of the comic book medium. You figure it's essentially the filmmaking part of it in a sense. It's about how you're framing a scene. It's about the pacing of the scene when you're cutting away and coming back. How do you show, for example, that like someone's say telling a story? So, like, just give it an example right here. You see how the edges of the panels are curved like that, and because
Yeah, I've
it's
noticed you doing that with your tools.
yeah, and then having like someone's head floating there because he's narrating a story. His head's floating there. He's telling a story of something that happened in the past, and then the square panels represent now, like what's happening right now. All these dead spaces here are where word balloons are going to go. So you can't just
Nice.
you don't just fill it up with it when all the time it would take to fill that up is just going to get covered. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to plan that stuff out.
Massively, yeah. So in this case, this is a scene where it's entering a new scene. So when you're starting a new scene in a comic or a movie, excuse
You
me,
got to
you
have
have
an
to you
establishing shot, right?
you just took the words right out of my mouth. So, and that's normally a long shot. Now, if I have a long shot, I like to use foreground, middle ground, background, and that way it
Yeah,
gives depth to the scene. That this device of like the guy yelling and pointing is like classic comics 101. That's like 1970s John Buscema Marvel comics stuff. He did that all the time. And I don't know if he's the guy that invented it. Gil Kane was another guy. Anyway, so things are happening now. These panels here are framed within the bigger panel. That's a giant panel, and that's because this event with this guy coming up an elevator, he's coming up inside the building, and this guy
ah,
he radios this robot to get information about stuff. So that's floating over these two panels to imply that because there'll be like two word balloons like right here, of them
yeah.
talking, and then boom, the whatever the thing comes up, then cut back to the scene here. And these are actually androids. They're Karen androids. You know what a Karen is, right? Chatelet,
Oh
Flash,
yeah,
good to see you, Flash.
yeah, dude. Chatelet, bro. Good to see
Woohoo!
you,
I know. I did send you a link if you want to come on the show and chat with us. I would love to have you on, buddy.
dude. He shared a little thing recently that he did with me, and it was amazing.
What is
I
it
don't
like?
know
Like an
if
animated GIF thing, or
Yeah,
Somebody's looking.
I don't know if OPSEC he wants me to say
All
live.
right,
So
I know he's, you know, if he wants to share, he can share. We'll just leave it like that.
yeah, it was super cool though.
Oh, he says I'm shy. Oh, dude, man, you're too good to be shy. Your art is too good to be shy. So anyway, let me get back to this. So here I've changed the camera angle. It's more of a worm's eye view looking up, and that's a different way to compose the space because I'm gonna put there's gonna be a word balloon something, and then they start doing things like just to sort of like, you know, let me speak to your manager, and they're just starting to act like Karens, you know, and
I
and
love
like
it.
given and he's like he's black, and they're doing all this like what do you call it? Like soft racism type things, like, you know, what neighborhood are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
from?
yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? Get the hell out of here. Like, you lady, you know, like we got a major fire on our hands here, something. And and so now they
This is
pull their
so
cameras
funny.
out, yeah, because they're like gonna film him. Oh, you're harassing me, and now I have to film this, and I'm gonna. So anyway, they start walking away, and he tries to stop them, but because they're robots, she ends up like twisting his arm, and it's sort of a mundane scene. It's just people talking, kind of. But you know, since I'm trying to make the page more exciting by breaking it up in this kind of fashion. You know,
Yeah, I
where
was
like
wondering if you were trying to express like more chaos
that's
on this
exactly it. And
page.
well, not only that, but like this the scene I'm kicking off like a major sorry, hold on. I'm kicking off a major action sequence. So like this is happening. They're surrounded by these Karen robots with shotguns and shit. Um and we're starting to get the picture like we don't know who these women are, but then we find out that they're robots and they're coming to kill like the main character, you know, and it's kind of part
Yeah.
of the whole fun of it, like the femoids or whatever, you know.
Oh,
And
dude, that's based, man. I love that.
yeah. So I mean, it's like a jab at feminism in a way, and that whole Karen phenomenon. So the main
Karen
character,
androids.
yeah, you get the idea. So like now they've got these
Yeah.
like ridiculously high end military weapons, machine guns that you would have mounted on helicopters and anti tank weapons and stuff. So the dude, you know, he jumps into action, and then cutting away to like a previous scene with some other bad guys with their crystal ball, and this little Jewish looking guy, he's called the Demon Rat, and he
Oh, he
commands
looks a
this.
lot like George Soros, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a. You know what? Maybe I was inspired by that. Interesting that you caught that. You're good. You're good, man. You got an eye for this. You got an eye for
Uh,
this. I'm telling you, man. You and I need. We're gonna start our own comic book company. Okay, that's what we'll do. So anyway, he goes into action, and now he's, you know, the full deal where he's slicing up these robots, and they're shooting at him. Of course, they can't. You know, he's got like iron armor on and da 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 da. And so anyway, that's about where it ends for you guys. There's more to come, a lot more to come. But doing stuff like this just kind of helps to shake up the viewer a little bit, make it a little more exciting visually. You know, comics should be entertaining. You know, make comics fun again. That's the Comicsgate slogan. Make comics
yeah.
fun again. Yeah. Whew.
It looks like Overflow is in the chat, and it looks like he is really interested in your work.
Yeah, hey man, Overflow. Welcome, welcome. What? How much for a page of action? So are you asking me how much money I get, or how much, or do you want to buy a page of art? Maybe you can clarify that. My side's having okay. So Flash says my side's having a lot of fun listening to you guys. Those pages look really punchy. Cool beans. Yeah, bro. my these comic book uh shows that I've been doing, I'm getting, I get like a minimum of like 200 views a show, and they're sometimes 300, and it's just me musing and talking with people, but I'm obviously kicking some serious ass in the artwork zone, you know. And so
Oh man, yeah, this is incredible, dude.
people enjoy watching live art. I don't know what it is, but it's very
Oh, it's so
mes-
satisfying, dude.
it's very mesmerizing, I think, for people.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know, I can't even explain it. Like they just feel, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people, you always hear that thing of like, oh, I wish I could draw and, this and that and stuff. And then I kind of get a chance to explain to people what's happening in the story. And that's kind of exciting to sort of follow, like, what the characters are doing, what's happening here
Dude,
and
was
there.
that guy see-through in that last page?
Yes, he has invisibility powers with his.
Oh, that's killer. What a cool way to portray that.
Yeah, that's actually quite hard to do. And I have to realize all of this is going to get digitally colored. The colorist is in the process of doing that right now, actually. But
Yeah, that seems like a good way to go about it. Like using traditional for the pencil and ink and then using digital to color. It just seems like a really efficient way. I've seen different guys doing that.
yeah.
Tim McBurney, Jake Parker, um, a lot of dudes seem to be
hmm
going that route.
hmm Just to answer overflow, I get paid industry rates. So, like, if that was what you meant by that question, then that's the answer. Um, it's a good job. I'll tell you. Like, I'm pretty lucky. I'm very lucky. Of course, you guys know that I have my own story that I'm really anxious to get to. When that's another, 5 issues that it's going to, I have no way, or I don't know how I'm going to fund the coloring and lettering of my own graphic novel, but it's sort of a bridge I'll cross when I get to it. So I don't know. Do you want to continue talking about your plans with teaching, or what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to give away too much, but uh, in my area,
Yeah,
there's I'm in Idaho, right?
sure.
There's this weird thing in Idaho. I've got a buddy who's like another bus driver, and he
Hmm.
was doing substitute teaching. And
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe it was because of an emergency thing that they had during the lockdowns and the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But in Idaho, and other teachers that I know hate this. They feel
Okay.
really angry about this.
Okay.
But in Idaho, you can be a substitute teacher without a degree.
Oh, wow. Well, I honestly think that's not terrible because the way that works is that the teachers who have the day off, they do all the lesson planning, they print out all the worksheets, and you're really
Yep.
just there to hand out worksheets and watch the kids so that they don't get in fights or do some dumb shit. You're not
Yeah.
actually teaching anything, generally.
Yep.
So, like, I think that's kind of snobby to say that. The thing of it
I
is
thought
that,
so too.
yeah, teachers unfortunately have to do substitute teaching until they can get a regular teaching gig. And I think that
Yep.
they feel like, oh shit, well, I had to do all that, so you should too. And this is the petty freaking mindset of like the culture of teachers. Like, I had to suffer, so you should too. And what the fuck kind of attitude is that? But
Yeah.
anyway, whatever. I
Let me tell you about this other little aspect. I've got another buddy,
yeah.
actually a friend that I met through the Go Free community,
Oh, cool.
and he's a full-time substitute teacher.
Yeah.
That's all he does. And he says he prefers that because he's an author and he's writing a book,
All
and
right.
that gives him the flexibility to write his book. I don't know if the pay is really enough, but he says he's able to make it work. Um,
Well, I would ask him
so what's
more
your thoughts
about
on
that.
that?
Yeah, I don't know how he's pulling that off exactly. Like, I don't quite know 100% how what his finances are. So I urge you to, like, get deeper on that topic and like pick his brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah, get back to that guy and say, hey man, I'd like to be doing, now for you. Okay, like, writing is the kind of thing where you can just talk into a microphone and it'll record what you're saying. It's not like drawing where it takes a lot of skill or this or that, or not that writing doesn't take skill, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. um Production doesn't take as long, let's put it that way. But anyway, yeah, check that out. you know Talk to the dude and see like how are you able to pull that off. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of sort
Go.
of saying like something to think about if you really want to go down this route is setting up some kind of after school summer arts classes, things of that nature. But it would, so like let's say you finish writing your, what time do you get out with your bus route thing?
Usually about 5.
All right, so you'd be having to do evening classes. And
Yeah.
then, so like, I start looking into adult education in your area. And so like how that works is that the town government or the school, one or the other or both, they will be in charge of adult education. They do these classes at the schools. They use the classrooms, but it's in the evening, so it doesn't conflict with
Nice.
anybody. Yeah, and then you come up with a curriculum, and I kung fu, guitar, art, teach 3 classes right there. Fill out your evenings, and you can have like 2 classes in a row, or you could have like 1 hour and another hour, or you could have a 2-hour course, and then you can go until like 10 o'clock at night teaching. Because adults that really want to enrich their lives, excuse me, or learn certain skills, for them it's just one night a week, or maybe 2 nights a week max.
Yeah.
And there's guys out there that want to learn stuff, and there's gals out there that want to learn stuff. There's a lot of elderly people that are looking for social time, and they
Oh
want
yeah.
to, so there's a good bit of that. There's parents that'll be like, oh, my kid is really good with art, so I'm going to give him like additional training, and I don't like what they're teaching in school because it's not for kids that have like talent in art or something. You see what I'm talking about? So
Yeah, yeah, totally.
yeah, so like, I mean, I'm just talking to you now, but I can send you an email with like much more detail on how to like get all
Yeah,
that together.
I like the concept. I didn't realize that like I totally forgot that the adult ongoing education
Hmm.
was a thing, you
Well,
know.
see, that's how you get around getting like a college degree and debt. You see what I'm saying? It's like, and then the whole thing of like, okay, I went to school, but I can't find a job, or I found the job and I fucking hate it, you know. And so, because I'll be honest with you, like I left teaching art like running out of a burning building. Like I hated it, by the time I was done, and it just was a bad choice in my life. It was a bad idea. I taught English as a second language for years. I'm an artist, and so I thought, well, I'll just combine the two. And I is had a kid to feed, and trying to be a dad and do the things, and
Oh
I
yeah.
trusted the system, and I'm like, oh, I'll be a teacher, da da da, not having any idea what a shitty field it is. It's a terrible field to get into for many reasons, and it's worse now than it ever was. So, I mean, as a friend, I have to kind of tell you that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I'm not discouraged by that. I don't know, man. I I just I don't the way things are going with the economy and everything. Um,
yeah,
and also some of this is probably coming from the fact that uh, I didn't think I would like driving bus, like the fact that it's a government job, but
yeah.
I kind of dig it. Um,
Um,
I don't know.
Driving a bus, you said.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it is a government job. But
it, no, I mean,
did you
fine.
see that?
Just I mean, like, my son just went into the workforce, and he's a lot like his dad. He's very creative, very, very bright. He's different like me. And he's very much like, like work, that whole, which I'm like that too, like I don't human beings don't exist to make money. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like we
Yeah.
need to have fulfilling lives. We need to have meaningful lives. And he
Yep.
he doesn't, he's just, like I said, he's like me. He doesn't fall into that kind of like, Joe Bag of Donuts, work all week and then spend your money on a football game or some dumbass shit. Um,
Yeah.
so we're talking quite a lot about getting his life in a type of balance. It's like, okay, you're all set with this career. You picked a great career. You got a good job. You're going to be making nice coin, and you know it doesn't define you. You are not your job. You're your own person. And so what's next? So, well, I think I want to get into writing. I want to do video editing. I da 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 or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, that's great. But it's a balance. And this
Yeah.
idea, yeah, this idea of I'm gonna make it as an artist, which is what I did, as a young man, whatever. It I suffered a lot from that. It was a delusion. It was delusional to
Yep.
to be that way. And
I did the same thing with music, by the way.
yeah. Now, there's, you could like blame society, or we could get into all kinds of talk about what that's about, and the struggle of it or what have you. But um ultimately it's like, I wish I could go back and start over. I wish that, XYZPDQ. So I'm trying to help you not fall down that road, so to speak. We got a couple comments here. Let me jump on the comments.
Yeah. There's
Hippocratic
some good
Oath,
ones.
Hippocratic Oath was not here earlier, and he did not see the Karens with the AK-47s and the rocket launchers and stuff. So like shit's about to go down. Of course, we got some shotguns here. Uh, let's see. Robert Pyle. Joe Jusko went to a vocational high school for art. One of the only ones like it at the time period. I'm tardy to class. Sorry, no problem, buddy. So did you guys know that I met Joe Jusko? Joe Jusko, for those who are wondering who he is one of the great, great comic book cover artists. I probably have something of his like within reach of where I'm sitting right now. I'd have to start digging and stuff. I did a show on that. He does like the most amazing Conan covers and stuff. Iconic, just like iconic stuff. But and very realistic and all that. Anyway, love Joe Jusko. So what are your thoughts though on this after school stuff and like supplementary income through teaching?
Well, all of it sounds great. I'm just not sure how I'm going to implement it, but I'm just going to have to cross that bridge when I come to it.
Yeah.
Um, but dude, I just wanted to make a comment of you got such a cool audience, man. Uh, some of
I
these
always,
dudes in your audience, they're like
yeah,
they're in the know. Like this, they know about art, they know about comics.
yeah, and
Uh,
more. I mean, I have the
yeah,
best fans. I swear to God. I mean, I kid you not. Like these conversations get really interesting and fun. Like we're laughing our asses off one minute, and then we're going deep on something else. And I really just have the best fans. So I think that's you know a big plus. I hope that more people can come to the channel and get involved in this little culture we got going here. It's just cool as hell. So I'm really proud of that. Not that I can take credit for it.
oh,
But
that's
it's
crazy.
yeah.
Because I remember talking about a friend about remote viewing earlier, and
Oh.
Hippocratic Oath just says, "Can remote viewing teaching be done remotely?"
Oh my God, dude. This is kind of weird because we're in a private chat, and like he wouldn't know that we were talking about some crazy esoteric things. So it's kind of sort of
Yeah, isn't that
karmic.
wild?
Is it synchronicity that he brought that up? You know?
I don't know, man. That's wild. Yeah,
Uh, I mean, plus that's a kind of a little dad humor thing going on there too. Like, can remote viewing be done remotely? Um, I actually talked a bit about remote viewing on the last episode, that I was interested in learning it until I found out some things that you're if you learn that you are now on the government's radar. And when I say the government, I mean like the secret government, like the deep state and the secret, the hidden budgets and all of that badassery that's evil.
like
And
some of those reptilian fellas in your comics, man.
yeah, dude, I'm not even kidding. One of the stories that I talked about was about someone who was doing remote viewing of bases on the moon, and like a gray sort of looked back at him and like was aware that he was remote viewing them, and that scared the shit out of him, as you can imagine. Like, "Oop, I'm
Yeah,
tuning out now." Like it just got right out of that one. So it was pretty scary. But yeah, that's real. And you figure like once you have this skill, and you know that like the CIA or whoever, different governments in the world are using these remote viewing skills. Now you, through remote viewing and other practices, you can get access to their secrets. So you could see how dangerous that could be to get into that field.
yeah, man.
Let's see, we got B here. I think B is new. And welcome B to the channel. To kind of look at a little bit of my artwork here, so you get something fresh to look at. I'm going to read your comment. I like coming here after watching Going Free. Okay, so you have been here. I'm sorry. It's like Jason Kuna is going to church and you're the soothing Sunday drive. Oh, what a nice thing to say. Keep it up and keep it Promethean. Yeah. So good stuff. Yeah, I could, that's actually probably a perfect description. I think that's really well said. Um, I've just been getting a lot of new visitors, and so sometimes I, or maybe I'm having a senior moment or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Oh,
I identify with what you're saying in terms of like just the frustration of like you're a creative person. You're too. This sounds like I'm complimenting you, but I'm actually just speaking facts. You're too smart for this world. You're too talented. You don't fit into the machine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
yeah,
see that with you. I think that's why I gravitate toward you so much. Is it's hard to find other people that are having the same struggle.
yeah. It's tough.
When you find them, it's like gold. You don't want to let them go.
1,000%, my man, 1,000%. I'm very like finding the right friends. It's everything. There's a phrase that I learned a while ago that friends are the family you choose. I
Yep.
think like that really really resonates with me like big time. I've been having some problems and stuff on the home front, and it's just weird how sometimes people that are supposed to be your family can hurt you the most. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. They
it's
have the
rough.
leverage needed to do it.
It's rough.
You
It's rough.
know,
But
they're on the inside.
so the beauty of it is that I've got folks like you guys in the. So hipster. I just said hipster. I meant Hippocratic oath. Says Kent pulls out the dead Groiper's pick. Yeah, it's again. You gotta understand. I did not write the story. This is the writer is just taking a swing at everybody on the political spectrum. He's very, very savvy. Like he's very, very savvy in terms of like understanding the intricacies and the ins and outs of all these different communities and belief systems and the dissident right. Um, magatards and leftoids and all the shit that's going on in the world. So you get the general idea. So
So
when the
I'm
book,
confused.
yeah,
Is the Pepe meme, is that a Groiper thing?
yeah, the yeah, I mean, you know, uh, I think Keck, um, that whole thing, yeah. So I don't make the rules, I mean, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
direct them
yeah.
that. But see, I've always thought Pepe was everybody's. I don't associate them exclusively with Groypers. That to me is not how I understand them.
Yeah, me too. I kind of think of them as you know, being, I don't know, I identify with that symbol just by being a dissident myself, you know.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I have heard people refer to uh, the Pepes as like a Groyper thing, and don't ask me really to explain that. But I really do feel that we kind of all own Pepe. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well,
Yeah, dude. Flash just says Groypers made their own Fat Pepe.
oh, that's right. Actually, see, leave it to Flash to know that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like king of dissident right esotericism. So that's awesome. No, that is actually true. Um, well, so the chat's picking up. Pepe is a general meme in our scene. We all use him, not just Groiper's correctamundo. So the Groiper frog has fat earlobes like a Buddha. So again, like you're talking about the actual meme. Okay. All right. So moving on.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've got a really good friend that's involved in the Groyper scene, and
Okay.
though I don't really run in those circles,
Yeah.
I can say that this dude is top notch.
Great.
And
Great.
and he's an incredible guy. He's a virtuoso guitarist. I talk about him all the time. Bass guitarist.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
He's
is it bass guitarist? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That guy.
He's
He's
crazy. He's
incredible.
phenomenal. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, geez, maybe we should get him on a show or something. Like, has he ever been on any of our shows?
I don't think so, dude. I think I've mentioned
Yeah.
it to him, but I'll mention it to him again.
Yeah,
Um,
man, we should like do like a guitar show or something. Be
oh,
fun.
that would be so killer.
Yeah, yeah, dude. The guitarists of the Dissident Right, starring Luke Mason. Wow, and bass guitars.
Hell yeah, dude. So I've noticed you're not inking the sunglasses on one of the Karens just yet.
Interesting. Yeah, I. So there's two kinds of inking, or maybe even three, but you have, and of course, I pull a brush out. Uh, Micron marker that's just literally a marker. They're different sizes for different objects. Now, these are only for mechanical objects. So sunglasses, cell phones, architecture, helmets, guns, cars. You see what I'm talking about? Like non-organic
Yep.
things, non-organic things. Now, but you also have to use these to draw people that are like far away, because you
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
I'm pretty adept at the brush that I can actually pull that off a bit, but things far away, of course, are not as clear to the eye. So you're going to use a
True.
very
Yep.
very thin line, like almost like a hair thin line. So this is a you just got extra points in Donald Kent's art class today for asking
Heck
this
yeah.
question. Yeah, yeah, man.
Well, I
I'm
have
gonna.
some of those markers, and because I was going through this
Mhm.
course a while back, it's a free course online called Draw a Box. I don't know if
Oh,
you've heard of it, but
no, no. Tell me about it.
it's pretty in depth, dude. They have you like just starting drawing like cubes, and then you start
Sure.
you start drawing them in perspective, and it's all done with like these markers and a ruler and 8.5 by 11 sheets of computer paper.
Okay.
And then also they start having you rotate the cubes. They start having you do like these cubes in the globe. And then from cubes, they move on to cylinders. And from cylinders, they start to move into more organic shapes. And
Okay.
I didn't complete it. I honestly, it was really hard. And I'd like to have more time and go back through it, but it was
Yeah.
just, dude, it was really intense in the whole like, you know, uh, especially the last one I did was like it was like a globe of cubes. And I
Yeah.
looked at mine and I looked at the one that the guy did, and mine was pretty, I could see a lot of errors, but I do want to go back and do it because people that go through that course
Yeah.
really have a good sense of structure.
So you're really you just hit gold here, okay, by bringing that up, because when you guys see me inking, you don't see me doing the actual work of making the pages in the pencil stage. I can't really, I don't like to stream when I'm doing that because it takes so much concentration that I have to focus very hard. So every single thing that you see in any page, and I'll try to find some different pages to share, just so you have something new to look at. Hang on, um, without making a freaking mess. Okay, here's one. Um, okay, so let's look at this page here. Now, this everything can be broken down to spheres, cubes, cones, and cylinders. And so, for example, like this hat is a cylinder. The gun is a cylinder, right? The handle of the gun is a cylinder. Um, there's various things of that nature that you're going to use as your. But like when you're getting into anatomy, it gets way, way, way more sophisticated. When you look at, say, the muscles on his arm, those are spheres. Those are balls per se that you kind of meld together. Um, the nose is kind of like it's sort of like a little box, and there's the eyes are orbs that are embedded into the skull, and there's a ginormous amount of anatomy study that you do to draw like this. It take like you look at the subway here train. So those are boxes, right? Those elongated squares that are coming out through this. Um, I don't know. It's just it is what it is, but it takes it's hard to explain. If I were like teaching an art class, I would be able to go into it in depth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah. It seems to me like I guess my best attempt at trying to explain it is that if you can have this structure as the basis for what you're drawing instead of just
yes,
drawing the lines,
yeah,
it comes off to the human mind. The human mind interprets those shapes as being 3D.
yes, 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 yes. So you're getting right to it. Is that the difference between like good and bad art, frankly, is that all good art, if it's fine art, comics, whatever, illustration, is that underneath the surface of things, the artist understands the sphere, the tube, the cone, da 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 da. All of those 3D forms in your brain, that's what you're drawing. Like I'll start off. I guess I could kind of do a little sample. Would you got? Would you guys like me to do that? Like a little
That would be killer.
mini art lesson thingy. So give me a second here, bros. My
Sorry
bros.
to sorry if I derailed you there, bro. I know you got to get your inking done.
Um. All right. So I don't know. Let's say I'm drawing a head. So what do I have here? Is I've got my orb, okay, and then like the chin, and this half of it is kind of, I guess you could think of it like a hoof from like a horse's hoof type of a shape.
Yep.
I often try to describe that like a door wedge. You know, a door wedge is kind of like this. Are you guys seeing that? I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see that. So it's, I guess if I were to do it more mechanically, it would look like this. Do you see the wedge right there? On,
Yep.
as that's the chin, right? The neck is a cylinder. You know, there's the neck, right? There's the cylinder. The ball is resting here, right? The nose is kind of like another door wedge that's coming out here. Um, the things like the cheeks are kind of like mini sort of wedges that kind of rest on the face, something like that. And then same thing with the brow. That's kind of a long, curvy wedge. And then the eyes are sunk into the sockets,
Yeah.
even though they're orbs. They So like when you know where things go, the lips. Oh, this is another thing I talk about is apple wedges. You know, like an apple wedge is kind of it's a shitty drawing, but like it's roundish, right?
Yep.
Something like that. So two apple wedges kind of makes that. The ear is an apple wedge. Okay, so it's got some depth to it. I'm gonna elongate the neck a bit. When you get to the torso, you're sort of kind of talking about like a box or kind of a TV set. You can make things round as well, but I'm just laying out the foundational structure. You have to think of it like architecture. What do you
Yep.
see when you see them building a house? They put the ground in, they plant all the whatever, the bars or the pillars and the shit, and then they put the fucking walls on. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is the foundation. Now from here, check this out. This ought to be kind of fun. Hold on a second. I'll do it with ink, not with that one. To hopefully make it come together. So now I'm gonna do, let's say and hair is a whole other thing. We're not gonna do hair. Let's say I'm coming around here and I'm this guy's got a very long chin. He's like a Chad. He's like the Chad meme.
Yeah, dude. He's totally Chadley.
Totally Chad, yeah. And then so do you see how the what do you call that? The profile there? It
Yeah.
it followed like so. So here I'm gonna kind of follow the edge of the nose and come around. Now there's little ball type shapes which are the nostrils,
Yeah,
right?
like in the tip of the nose has a ball, and
Hmm.
then I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just watching a David Finch video on that with my daughter today.
Oh, wicked cool. So the eyes are embedded here, and the eyelids are gonna kind of droop over the eye, right? On both top and bottom. Do you see how that looks there? You
Yeah,
see how
man.
that? I'll kind of zoom in a bit to give that a better.
It looks more like a 3D sphere that happens to have the eyelids going around the sphere instead of like just drawing flat
Yeah,
lines
that
on a piece of
right.
paper.
There's your eye, and your eyelid is cupping it, if you will.
Yes.
Um, so then, like, lips are can be a little complex. You've got these little, I don't know, these little edges down here. Da da da. I try not to get too detailed in the lips. Like this chin is bothering me. Like I would never. That's a goofy chin, but like whatever. You're getting the idea. So
I
let's
kind of
do.
like that chin.
You like
I
it?
think it
Okay.
I think it looks over the top. That's probably why I like it.
All right. All right. So we're gonna do the other eye socket here, and let's say we'll, go in like we're doing before, and you gotta make it symmetrical with the other one. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Right. And then then here you can kind of see that door wedge here. That's kind of where you can throw in a little cheekbone action.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
all right. So now the ear, obviously, it's the wedge, the apple wedge. The top of it is always going to be along the eyebrows. So you have to know
Yep.
where these things go as well, right? And then give it a little lobe. See, now I fucked up though because that's supposed to meet here. So that should have really been here, actually. but I can just draw like hair here. You know.
Yeah, or maybe he could have 2 ears.
Yeah, right. When in doubt, ink it out, baby.
Oh
Start
yeah,
giving him
that's a
like,
good one.
when in doubt, ink it out. So the
You know what
hairline
I
is
appreciate is
what's
he
that?
doesn't look like a manga character.
I hate manga. I'm sorry, fans, but I hate manga. I'm not a manga fan. I hate manga,
Oh
but
man.
sorry about that. Now you can anyway. I mean that's a whole other topic. So not how does the hair grow out of the head? From the stalk and like giving the brush a bit of a cool brushy look to it. Kind of helps with there's different ways to illustrate hair and how it flows and falls. There's different comics artists have different ways to do that. This guy's looking very Chad.
Oh
He needs
man, 110%
yeah,
Aryan
he
phenotype.
needs he needs some eyebrows badly though. So we're gonna hook him up with some nice eyebrows here. Now that's a whole other thing that's interesting is the way eyebrow hair grows. It's got its own, you know, thing, I guess. I don't know, its own nature. So, and then we can put like a little wrinkle right there, for example. Now the neck, see, the thing that it needs to be kind of mentioned is that you have to learn to sort of draw through things. I don't know how else to describe it, but did you see
Yep.
how like everything's invisible? Like all of those forms are made of glass. You could think of it like that,
Yeah.
and you draw them from all sides. This looks like that Pattinson actor. He was in Harry Potter. He was in the Watchtower or the Light Tower. I forget his name. He played Batman. Anyway, whatever. But the key point I'm trying to make here is just that everything you see in every single one of these comic book pages starts out like this. Okay. So it just
Yeah.
the shit just doesn't fucking fall out of my pencil. Okay, like you build it, you construct it. There's I don't have a Harry Potter pencil that's just like, espresso comico, ping, and whoa, it just fell out of the fucking pencil. You know, I'm gonna read. I got a bunch of comments in here. Let's see what
Yeah,
people
yeah.
say. Super Chin, yeah, what's up, y'all? Hey, Ghost Dog's here. Welcome, Ghost Dog. What's shaking? Doing some comic book illustration. This is a little bit of an art lesson here. I like some of the black and white artwork of manga, but a lot of the storylines manga. Yeah. Manga has what writers call adta. Adta means if you break down the letters, it means one damn thing after another, and it doesn't. There's no structure. It's just, and then this happens, and then that happens, and then this happens, and this is cute, and this is funny, and now there's crying, and now there's laughing, and now there's action, and now there's sad, and blah, blah. And it's none of it fucking connects. It's weird. Like that's the thing I can't stand about it. Squidward Chin. Yes, indeed. That's cool. Hey, AA is here. Welcome, AA. Oh, just a little art lesson on how to be a badass comic book artist. So there you go, Joe. I'm gonna
How
have to.
many hours does it take you to pencil, say, like a page full of panels like this?
Right. So like I just did a penciled page. I've done a couple today. It depends on what's on the page. There's and like I said, there's a lot of big empty spaces in some of these pages for word balloons, and then in other pages you have like that scene with the hold on with the fireman, and that's a lot of detail. It took a lot of time. I don't know, dude. I can't answer that very well because it's never the same. But then also I lose track of time when I'm drawing. Like I don't know what I don't I don't know
Oh,
what
it's
time
easy
it
to
is.
do.
I can't
It's
even.
easy to do.
Yeah, it's probably like I'm sure it's more than an hour. Like I'm sure it's more than.
Yeah.
I can say that, but like it, I and it's stupid because I've been asked that question a million times, and I never have a good answer, which makes me look like an idiot. Western
Dude, I
Comics.
was I was
What?
just drawing a panel today, and it wasn't even a full page like that, dude. It was just one panel, and I
Yeah.
swear I spent at least 2 hours doing just that one panel, just starting from the construction lines like you did with that face.
Yeah.
And then finally I got to where I was like, drawing like the more organic shapes over the top of that.
Hmm.
And it takes a long time, man. I imagine since
It's
I'm a beginner,
yeah.
it's going to take me a long time, like maybe 5 hours per page.
So like, I don't want to discourage you, but it oh, shit, same fucking pages. It gets better. That's all I'm trying to tell you. It does get better. Like you figure shit out, and then it gets to be like habit. So like I think
Yeah.
like when I started learning comics, it was pretty shitty. It was pretty bad, but like I loved it so much and I stuck with it, and I tried to apply various graphic ideas that I could see in comics, shadows or blah blah blah. I have like a really strong sense of composition and storytelling. Um, so there's so many elements. You got to have the form, you got to have the storytelling, you got to have the page layouts. You are an actor, a director, a costume designer, an explosives
Yeah.
tech, a martial arts choreographer. You're it's it this is the hardest form of art that exists. I guarantee. Well, maybe filmmaking is harder. I guess we'll say filmmaking, and then comic book
Filmmaking is
illustration.
probably more expensive too.
Well,
You
that's
got to
why
employ so
comics
many
are
people.
yeah, comics are films on paper. So with a pencil and
Yeah,
paper and ink, I can make a movie. That's literally what I feel I'm doing.
absolutely.
That's how I look at this. Yeah.
So AA has a couple comments. He says that's cool, and he says, "What do you think about Simon Bisley? That name sounds familiar
Oh,
to
I
me,
love,
but
I love. Well,
I'm a noob."
okay. um, I always say Beasley, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. Beasley. I believe he's from England. He's done a lot of work in Heavy Metal magazine. Um,
Oh, I've probably seen his stuff. Then that's
I'm,
probably why
I'm,
it sounds
I'm
familiar.
90. Yeah, I'm 90% sure you've seen his work. I'm kind of hit and miss. I mean, I love him. He's great, but like sometimes he's like a little over the top in some places, and then other times I'm like, oh my god, my heart, I love this artwork so much. And but the dude is top notch. I mean, you can't take that away from him. So that was a good question. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free. It's like free chat time on the Duncan Hour with Luke Mason.
Yeah,
So
dude, you
yeah.
got you got all kinds of cool people showing up. Oh, Lobo versus Batman.
Oh,
That
okay,
sounds
that's
like quite a matchup.
yeah. That's actually I'm sure that'd be a fun comic to draw as well. Um
I've been watching a lot of David Finch stuff, and
yeah, yeah.
there's something. His characters are always really sleek, and
Oh,
I
big
like how
time.
angular they are for some
Yeah.
reason. That just really appeals to me.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the great appeals to his work. They're highly stylistic. They just look wicked. That he's got a good sense. I think that's the kind of the thing in comics is that people try to create their own style. It's not just like photorealism. It should be cool. It's in some way cool. And some people approach that stylistic element in a sort of more cartoony way, a fun way. And then others do it in a more badass kind of way. And I think he's more on the badass scale. I've got a really
Oh,
nice
definitely.
David Finch Batman hanging right next to me in my studio, actually. He seems like a super nice guy too, just as a
He
bonus.
does. He comes off really well.
Hmm.
Um, dude, have you? Uh, I'm like one of these guys that I watch like a ton of these different things. Like when I'm like I don't know, when I'm like going to bed or whatever.
Yeah, me
or
too.
you
Me
know,
too.
when I'm
Yeah,
occupied
helps
doing the
your.
dishes or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I'm that all day, every day. Go on. Yeah.
So the Draftsman podcast, have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. Tell me more about it.
Oh, dude, there's this guy. His name's Stan Prokopenko, and he's like an art teacher that put together like these online courses. I
Mm-hmm.
think he went to Watts, and so he's got like the real legit schooling, but he his heart seems to be in like online courses. And then he has this podcast with this guy that Marshall Vandruff, and I want to say that Marshall is like a faculty at like a some either community college or state college in California.
Okay.
But the dude is just he's he's really fun to listen to. But I get a lot out of listening to those guys, and I
Yeah.
learn a lot about a you know just kind of it's like trying to drink out of a fire hydrant listening to those guys talk about art.
What a
It
great
is because
analogy.
I well
Wow.
yeah because I'm new to a lot of it, and like they had James Gurney on a recent episode that I watched, and they were talking about you know how to teach yourself art and what are the things that you know you want to cover and
Mm-hmm.
like James Gurney, he's like super realistic. And
Mm-hmm.
you know the Vandruff guy, Marshall Vandruff, he's like almost more of like a commercial artist
Mm.
slash kind of a cartoonist. And
Okay.
they were talking about some different artists, and they brought up that even guys like Norman Rockwell, like that
Mm-hmm.
guy was actually a pretty decent cartoonist as well as
Mm.
a
Mm.
painter. And they showed like a little thing of his lines, and they're like, yeah, when he just does the lines, you could tell like this guy can also be a cartoonist. It was
Nice.
just really inspiring to see that kind of
Nice. Yeah.
you know crossover.
Big time. Frank Frazetta is a guy like that as well. There's a funny story with him where he did, you know, comic books for so long, and then in the old days, like in New York City and in the comics industry, people were, because I know some pros in the industry that like they were extremely competitive and like not very nice to each other in a lot of cases. And
Uh-huh.
somebody said to him like, "Oh yeah, you know, whatever, your comics are great, but you can never paint like real fine art." And that got under his skin. And then now, you know, like, look at, like, we all know Frank Frazetta's fine art paintings, his you know, book covers,
Wow.
Conan, you know, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll fucking show you," you know. And then he became Frank Frazetta. Like that's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing to me. But I have a kind of a funny, interesting comic pro story. So like, and it's story time, kids. So when I was starting out trying to learn how to do this art form, you know, I knew you know, I had done fine art. I was living in Asia, and it was like a dream of mine as a kid to become a comic book artist. And whatever, I had the idea like, you know what, I want to do this. I'm going to go in this direction. So I cooked up some pages, a story, something, and then I took my portfolio to the Big Apple Con in New York City. And part of the draw for that for me was that Mike Mignola was there, and I'm a massive Hellboy fan. I wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
Uh, Massive, just a true artist, like all around. Like I want to be Mike Mignola, like you know what I'm saying, like just whatever.
Yeah.
But so it was a big deal for me. And among inside my portfolio, I didn't have a lot of comics, so I had some of my fine art stuff and sort of like experimental comics type art. And
Yeah.
he's a real sweet guy. He This was actually before the movie was made, so he wasn't actually famous yet. And he was famous in the comics world, but not in the film world. So
Yep.
anyway, whatever. He was very approachable, super sweet guy. And I'm like, you know, I'm nerding out like crazy, like, oh my god, it's Mike Mignola, you know, you know, here's my heart, Mike, you know, like that. And anyway, you know, and he's very down to earth. Anyway, so he looks at my art really, really seriously for a while, I'm saying, "Can you give me an advice?" And he goes, "I can't give you any advice." You know, meaning like your art is beautiful. I love it. And there was one specific style that I did that he was like, "This really, really grabs me. Like you should do this. Go in this direction." You know, and you know, maybe I'd better follow his advice. It was essentially like a combination of inking and penciling with shading. Anyway, that's another story. So I really was just flying high. I was feeling really good. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna scoot around to some other areas. There's like all these DC Comics guys up on the second floor. You know, I'll get in line. I'll show them my work and maybe get some pro advice. And you're just a dreamer. So I get up there, and I guess I'm gonna say his name. I never say his name, but this time I'm gonna say his name. Uh, Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray are two well-known guys in comics. I really like Jimmy Palmiotti as a writer and inker. Um, we're not on the same page politically, but that does not not going to go there. But this just so the Justin Gray guy is the artist and Jimmy's the writer, and I go up to their table. I've been buying their books for a while, and I'm like really into this duo, you know. So I'm in line, whatever. They're doing, portfolio reviews, something. And then it's my turn. And again, I know that I'm new to this, but what they don't know is that, I just came back 5 years in Asia. I do fine art like a fucking king. And I'm Donald Kent, like I'm not some shitty goofball that just fell out of bed this morning and decided, oh, I want to be an artist. So, and I had heard about this happening at comic book conventions, and then I became like one of these tropes. So what it was is that Justin Gray decided that he wanted to make an example out of me, or make a scene, for the people in the audience. Like it's New York City Comic Con. There's a lot of people there. So he looks at my portfolio, and he starts laying in on me about, like, you just because you can do fine art doesn't mean you can do comics. Just because you can
Oh wow.
yeah, just because you can play violin doesn't mean you can play piano. And like he's just raising his voice and raising his voice, and he's escalating us, and like and just like trying to tear me a new one, that kind of like, I'm gonna shove this,
Wow.
I'm gonna just like throw my weight at this guy, and I'm gonna and like people were stopping and they were gathering around, and it was just he was creating a scene. And
Oh my gosh.
I'm standing there looking at the guy like, okay, number one, I know kung fu. Like I could easily, I could I could snap my fingers and you'd go through that wall over there. Like you don't intimidate me at all. Like I am not even remotely. But I'm just quiet. I'm just doing the Zen thing. I'm doing the samurai thing. And blah blah blah, blah, and there's really nothing. There was nothing to say. Like I just listened. I just stood there, and I think maybe what he wanted to see was me like cowering and begging, or maybe I should have, like, you know, I don't know. It was just weird and annoying and mean. And so
Yeah.
you have no idea who I am, what I can do, what my art is like. Because he was like, what's your background? I'm like, well, I do fine art, something. And then he went at me, went for my throat. Um, so I don't know. I just thought it was like kind of ironic in the sense that like I'm already a like an accomplished artist, and this guy's yelling at me like I'm an art student in college 101, like some kind
Yeah,
of,
that's wild.
yeah, it was
I
really,
get the sense that it's
yeah.
really competitive over there
Oh
on the
shit.
East Coast.
Oh yeah, dude. New York City, dude. I mean, fuck, New York City is, you know, it's rough. It's it's New York City. It's like that, so, but
Hey, Western Kind United has a couple comments. He says,
okay, you want to read that for me?
I had, yeah, if you don't mind, I had
It
an
would
idea
help.
for a comic. It revolves around John Sakars taking a plane flight to go to a vegan convention, then surviving a crash, and then needing to hunt for survival on an island. A whole character arc would be unfolded. In the beginning, after the crash, John is still engaging in cringy conduct. For example, recording a selfie where he sucks on a dragon fruit while demanding that you go vegan. Then hunger changes him.
This So like a lot of our guys have like these great comedic ideas to like lamb-based popular culture, and like like spoof a lot of stuff, and this comic book does exactly that actually. So but
Yeah,
you'll know when it's finally published. um I urge people to follow through on these ideas. Like I don't, and there's always the whole like time commitment thing. Like, okay, I can't draw a graphic novel, or I can't make a movie, but I can write a short story. You know what I'm saying? Like this is essentially
yeah,
yeah. So I urge people to follow through on these ideas.
yeah, dude. Actually, I should give you a little cred for that because all the times that I've told you about my idea, you've been extremely encouraging, and dude, it's kept me going through some hard times, man.
Yeah,
Where I thought it wasn't going to fly, and then I get just a little bit of encouragement, and someone likes what I'm trying to do, and it's like, oh, dude, this is
nice.
awesome. Okay,
That's
next
great.
day, one day at a time,
Well said. That's actually really well said. I don't know how to say it. Like I said earlier, like you are too big for this world. It's the world that wasn't made for your greatness. It can't hold it. You have to come up with your own way, your own system, your own ideas in terms of like, how can I angle this? How can I turn this into something? Make a living from this, or even make a buck from it, or how am I going to manage to be who I am in this world? You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
brutal. It really is a cruel world towards artists. It's not good.
And there's a lot of traps too. Like you think you're doing the right thing, by, you know, going by the conventions and
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
doing what you're supposed to do before you can do what you actually want to do. And then it turns
Right.
out the thing that you were supposed to do is actually a trap that keeps you from doing what you wanted to do in the first
You
place.
freaking nailed it, man. That sounds like a certain level of hell that you're talking about right there. Because it's like a loop or something where you can't get out.
Yeah, they
Um,
constantly keep moving the carrot, you know.
that's perfectly said. Yeah. That's kind of the theme of the show, I guess. It's just like the difficulty of being in the arts and having to be inventive. You know,
Yeah,
I'm still looking, honestly. I mean, I've bought into programs, and I've tried this and I've tried that, and it's fucking hard out there, man. It really is.
it is.
Yeah.
Um, Looks you got a couple good comments
All
here.
right. Would you read them?
Uh, yeah, AA says you should make a comic where you and Kim Jung Gi kick the asses of those snobby NYC comic artists.
Holy shit, that's great. That is that's too funny, dude. Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, you think you're better drawing than me? I show you, hasa, and then get into some taekwondo kung fu shit.
That'd
Um,
be so killer. Western
yeah.
Kind United says Donald indulged my request to play a video from John Sakars on the stream, audio only, so the viewers were deprived of the unique visuals. Unique
Uh,
is in quotes, and he says,
yeah.
ever since John Sakars is a legend here.
It was just so. I mean, it was like it's like being Rick rolled in a way. It's like, oh yeah, check out this video, and then you see, and you're like, nah, this is super cringe. This leftist vegan guy, and he thinks he's real sexy. It's ugh. You can just looking at that video is like the smell of bo. It's like gives you that cringy, nasty, like, ugh, why am I? You want to clean yourself after seeing a video like that.
You're like, you watch the video and you're like, is that me?
No, yeah, because I didn't quite get I didn't know what I was getting into when he sort of trolled me on that one, but it's funny. And he's like, yeah, have the audience check it out. I'm like, nah, I'll pass. But anyway, it's funny. Yeah.
Western Kind United again says, thanks to Mr. Mason for an inspired reading of my vegan fiction. And then after that, he says, perhaps Luke needs to see it so that he does not feel excluded.
Just remember,
um,
when you go there, there's no turning back.
oh yeah, man. There's some things that you see,
Oh yeah, you
and then
cannot
you're like,
unsee.
man, I can never unsee that.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I'll be honest. I'm actually pretty sensitive to a lot of dumb shit. Like, not sensitive in the sense like I don't know how to put it, but like there's certain types of humor and stuff that it really turns me off. Like I'm not gonna go there, but like I don't know. I think it's because I'm a visual person. I just like internalize stuff a lot more than say the average person or something.
Yeah, actually, my kids are kind of that way. I've got like my oldest daughter. She,
Mm.
like I can watch really gory fight scenes. Like the fight scenes on
Mm.
Family Guy are incredibly brutal. I don't know if you've ever caught any of
I've
those.
seen some of them, and like it's just over and over and over, and like like constantly it's just
It's
worse and worse. But go on.
it's way over the top, like with
Yeah,
the violence,
yeah.
and I laugh at that stuff. I think part of my advantage is I'm extremely desensitized to a lot of that
Mm.
stuff, but not everyone is, and so it's like I have to remember, like,
I'm the opposite of that.
some people,
Yeah,
yeah, some people actually are, they really,
like it hurts
there's
to
a
watch
bigger
that. Yeah,
connect.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a bigger connection between their imagination and their physiological response.
They say that the what do you call it? The subconscious doesn't know the difference, like if it's
I
real
think that's
or
true.
not. Yeah, I've only heard that, but like it's for me, like I don't know, I wish I wasn't this way. I mean, it's not something I like being, but whatever. We kind of went off on a tangent there, but
Well, that might be an advantage though, because there are some things where you do want to be more sensitive. Um, you know, uh, like when you're getting into esoteric things like qigong or meditation,
hmm
I think it
hmm
would actually be more to your advantage to keep that sensitivity to visual or imaginary cues than to
hmm
be desensitized. I think that might be part of my problem. Like,
interesting.
I have a tendency to uh, rationalize away all of my spiritual experiences and
Mm.
find material explanations for the spiritual.
Wow, that's
And it might be because I'm
yeah.
desensitized. Who
But
knows?
you're going down quite a path here with that topic. I want to get into that, but I also want to see what's going on in the chat here. I want to first say hello to Zenon. Are you new, Zenon? It's good to have you here. I'm trying to keep track of my new folks coming to visit us. Robert Powell, when he fights, there's a all right. So anyway, yeah, just checking on that. But I feel like one's spiritual evolution is extremely personal, and maybe in some cases too personal, like a thing that you can obviously talk to a trusted friend about it or whatever, but you also have to look at it like, who is the right person to talk to about this. So like I know
Yes.
I got a friend who I adore as a friend, but he's he's like a super Christian, I guess, and that's fine for him. but like it always feels like he's trying to convert me. You know what I mean? Whenever I talk about
Yeah,
certain types of
that
things,
takes a toll on a friendship.
it's uncomfortable. You really hit it when you just said that. Like it takes a toll on a friendship. Like it doesn't lend itself well to trust in a sense. I can see personally that he I wouldn't dare say this to him. Oh my god. But like his ego is his god. You know, he's got a weird like, become my student, and I will lead you in the way of Christianity. And I'm like, that it's sort of creepy. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I've
it's
met
it's
people
un-
like that.
it's very uncomfortable. So like there's just certain types of things that I'm going through, and I love the guy and I share my personal problems with him and stuff, but I wouldn't ask him about those kind of things. And we can relate on God and various spiritual topics, but again, he's always trying to like control the frame, and that's like a martial arts expression, control the frame, like it's like controlling the distance between the
Yep.
range, between you and the opponent, like who controls the center line and these various things. They're the ones who are going to win the fight, and he happens to teach martial arts as well. So
Oh man, so he knows
yeah,
what he's doing.
it's like, I mean, he's actually a phenomenal teacher and a phenomenal martial artist, sorry, exceptional. Um, but see, that all plays into the ego. You see what I mean? It's like, I want to be your teacher. And I'm like, I don't need your lesson. you know, like
Yeah,
I already know what I need to know. And it's superior to what you know. So I can't say that to you because your ego is like explosive. And it'll be
yeah,
like, I'll never talk to you again because you hurt my ego. That's not, that's infantile. That's not the way a man should behave. Um,
yeah. I
so I
was
don't know.
gonna say,
Yeah.
uh, just as a little white pill and maybe an encouragement to just have patience with him. Like, dude, I used to be that guy. I ran a Christian
Wow.
martial arts dojo
Oh my
for many
gosh,
years,
Troy.
and I was the annoying guy that was trying to convert all my friends.
Oh
And
my
look at me now, bro.
Wow, wow.
So,
Well, this guy will never become like pagan or something of that nature. But I'm glad you said that, and I mean, again, I can't overstate how much I love and respect this guy. That is, I would take a bullet for this guy, and I'm serious. Like I really owe a lot to him, and I love him dearly. It's just that, this is my point. The point of the entire story is that religion, spiritual development is very intimate. It's between you and God. So it's
yep,
not between me and my buddy. Like my buddy can share his experience. I appreciate that, but don't fucking try to change my mind so that you feel superior to me. Oh, I'm not. Oh, I'm just looking
yeah,
out for you. You're not looking out for me. If you were, you'd shut up because I don't want to hear this shit anymore. And I mean,
yep.
I know this sounds harsh, but like it annoys me. you know,
Well,
it,
to
it
to be
yeah.
fair, depending on who is influencing him, like that is just a common feature of a lot of different, especially if he's like part of like an evangelical Protestant denomination. They
Hmm.
straight up tell you in a lot of those churches, dude, they're like, yeah, you gotta go out there and save souls, or all these people will be lost and they'll end up, going to the fiery abyss and all this, and they scare the crap out of you, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
make you feel like
He's
you have to try and convert everyone you know.
right.
And
He's not that, but he's like anti-church in many ways. Like, and like I do actually agree with him on a number of things, and I have like a my own kind of form of Christianity. That it's just like I said, it's between me and God. It's not, I don't need an intermediary. I don't need any man's judgment on that topic.
oh, Dude, she is
Yeah.
putting the hurt on this firefighter.
Well, she's a robot for starters. So like he doesn't know that yet. The audience who's reading the book doesn't know that yet. But when hold on a sec. Where is the page?
Did I
So
ever tell you that I thought that I actually think Karens are kind of hot?
oh, some of them are. Some of them are. I don't know if you can see this. Man, this is weird. I've gotten like static electricity right here. He's got a Karen
Oh
and his
yeah.
swords here, and they're and then in the next scene he's like chopping them up to pieces, and they're all
Oh, and
like
there's like
mechanical
wires
parts
and
flying
circuits
all
and shit.
over. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's killer, dude.
So it's gonna be fun when people finally get the sense of what's happening in the story. You know what I mean? I know it's hard to
Yeah.
see the pencils. I hope you guys can see the pencils. Okay, look at that. There's our little buddy right there, little Mister
Oh
Soros.
yeah, yeah. Dude, that guy's got some wicked elf ears going on too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And his little demon rats that he commands. He's
Oh, dude,
since
I almost thought that was a furry at first.
oh, don't give the writer any ideas, otherwise I'm gonna have to draw
Oh no.
furries. Oh shit. I
You
don't
mind
want to
if I
draw.
catch up on a couple comments for you?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back just a little ways.
Okay.
Okay. Western Kind United says, Donald, I remember your passionate rant on Doritos. This year, at least, they did not have anyone sucking Dorito dust off of fingers and instead have
Oh.
badass Latina grandmas on scooters.
Yeah, we're talking about the Super Bowl commercials. Is that what we're referring to? Because I didn't see the Super Bowl or the commercials, so I don't know. I do know there was there was some commercial with people like cleaning the feet, like, oh, Christians, you must support gays and like illegal immigrants and shit. You guys probably know about that. It's kind of out
Oh,
there. But I
I
I
heard about it.
vaguely yeah, I get really angry about shit sometimes. And I
Yeah, I
feel
do
like I
too.
have
I'm boycotting football.
well, no, I mean like well, I hate football, that's a whole other topic. But what I'm trying to say is that like on my streams, I get off on these rants sometimes and I go ballistic on these some of these things. So I'm kind of like I hope people don't mind that. I don't know if that's annoying or what. Maybe you guys can comment on that a little bit. But yeah, once in a while, I'll get off on a topic. I think we all kind of do once in a while. A certain thing that upsets us or whatever. Not like we're we're constantly being assaulted by the media anyway.
True story. Von Bode, or sorry, no, AA says Bode Son is a good artist, and then under that he says Von Bode or Bode. Am I pronouncing that right?
I don't think I'm not sure that I know who he's referring to actually. Um,
Interesting.
I might have to look that up.
Robert
Um,
Pyle says I'm gonna head out. Got to run to the store before it gets too late.
all right, Robert.
And and then it says Western Kind United says he's talking about your friend that's trying to turn you into his Padawan. He says, Donald, you can be his Anakin Skywalker and he
Oh,
your Emperor Palpatine. Unlimited power.
yeah. Oh, dude, if that were the case, I think I would probably do it. I've got a weird obsession. I've got a weird obsession with Darth Vader, and I that's the funny. That's another part of the Kent lore is that when I was a kid, I was like conflicted because I saw Star Wars and I liked Darth Vader more than any other character, and I was like, is this bad?
Yeah.
Am I going to hell because of this? Oh no.
I actually I'm probably way more pro Sith than pro Jedi.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm completely for the Empire. But I mean that's you and I know that that's it symbolizes our
Oh
situation right
yeah.
now,
Yeah,
and like
totally.
it's a in a sense a meme, that we're kind of
Yeah.
talking about here. For like people who don't ever like don't know who I am or the context of this culture, then they probably wouldn't get that. But. Anyway.
Flash says, Darth Vader is a golem. And that's funny because I recently watched a video by this dude on BitChute that goes by Hyperborean Research, and he was talking about how there's actual like Hebrew characters written on Darth Vader's uh, breastplate,
No
as you
shit.
will.
Oh God.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at the shape of Darth Vader's helmet,
Oh boy.
other than being
You're ruining
extremely
it for me,
phallic.
dude. You're ruining
Oh,
it for
dude.
me.
Well, I'm sorry, but it actually looks very similar to artwork and this movie about a golem that was made like before there
Oh,
was like color television.
oh
Uh,
shit.
but it's actually a really cool presentation that he does because
Hmm.
evidently the Jedi are based on like a group of Egyptian wizards that actually existed.
Oh, that's highly believable. Because that's we're talking about Hermes Trismegistus and the Emerald tablets and the origins of Western magic, essentially. So
Yeah.
I'm you know that's really cool. I'm interested in that. One thing I found interesting is how what's his face Yoda is based on a Tibetan monk. And I think anyone
Oh, interesting.
who knows the Star Wars lore is going to know about that. You know.
I thought the now as far as like my fascination with siding with the Sith, I think where that really
Hmm.
comes from
Yeah.
is that I feel like people in our sphere are hunted,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like the Sith, like in the Jedi lore, if you really look at it, um, the Jedi basically hunt down the Sith like they have no tolerance for anything other than
Oh well.
Jedi,
Oh
and
boy.
they
Okay.
basically hunt them down, and that's kind of how it feels, with our current situation where everything that is woke and multicultural, there's like no tolerance for people that want to just live the way that their ancestors lived, you know.
Ye-
And it seems
Yeah.
like they're going to push and push until there's none of us left.
That's the whole cult. That's the whole movement right there. That's the whole thing that we're involved in is fighting for our existence. I mean,
Yep.
we that's what brought all of us together here on this show, and that is the most important thing to us as far as our politics, and it's certainly a part of our spirituality as well. That you really just put a knife right in the heart of it. You know what I'm saying? Like with what you're saying there, it's just talking about that shit kind of it's makes me want to get up and preach. you know but
Yeah, speaking of
yeah.
preaching, Flash says, Luke, an evangelist? Who would have known? Ha ha ha. And
Uh-huh.
then Alistor, I don't know if is Alistor, has he been here before? He says, damn, you are really good at art.
So like a lot of people that visit me for the first time haven't seen my work, so I always kind of feel like I need to take a quick break and just sort of give them a tiny show.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys have seen a lot of this. See if I can find some new pages. If you give me 10 seconds, I'll get some new pages so you don't have to see the same thing over and over. Just hang tight.
While he's doing that, I'll see if I could read a couple more.
Okay, so
Let's
here's
see.
this is one of my stories, but go on, read some more if you can.
Okay, let's see. I thought that this is Western Kind United. I thought that I was going to hell for liking Darth Vader so much. Oh, he's quoting you.
Oh yeah.
And then Flash says the commands on his torso are literally written in Hebrew. That's true if you look at it. Um, Western Kind United says Vader is dependent on technology. It both empowers and shackles him. And then he says
Mm,
he was corrupted, turned into a servile dog through exploitation of his
okay.
fear and ignorance. And then
Okay.
Flash says Palpatine did nothing wrong.
Oh.
And then Hippocratic Oath says Papa Palps was rejected from art school.
Oh my god. You guys are too much. I told you I got the best people on my show, man. I told you.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, these are good, dude. Some of these I still haven't seen.
Well,
Whoa.
this is yeah, I know. This is you can imagine what she's saying. But she sorry, this is my comic book Militia Man that I'm working on.
Was
So
that Aunt Jemima?
she's a really bad bitch in this story. She's a
Oh,
really bad bitch. Like she's all the memes rolled up in one in terms of like the type of behavior you would expect from that. And then
shit.
shit, and here's this is literally the Bilderberg Hotel right here that's in the comic book. And so you
Oh
can
shit,
imagine.
dude. That's beautiful.
So this is what I mean about architecture and establishing shots. We talked about that before. You know,
Yeah.
in comics,
I
you
like
got to
having
go ahead.
that guy on the little side panel. Is he the reporter or that
No,
little
he's
circle?
he's he's one of the he's the head of Judeo-Christian News. It's a conservative Inc. News channel, I guess, if you will.
Nice.
And then this, I really love that shot. I think so.
Oh
This is
yeah,
it's
dude. That's
basically like,
killer.
well, that's Militia Man fighting Westguard, and so it's essentially like MAGA Republicans versus fascists. That's like what's happening in that
Whoa.
scene. The other members of Fash Force, this guy is like a Southern rebel superhero. She's an Asatru Odinist superhero,
I
and
like how she has braids. That's so cool.
yeah, she's. I don't know if I have. Here's like a better picture of them. You can kind of. I hope you can see. The dude in the back is a Boogaloo boy.
Oh, dude, this looks so cool.
I shit you not. When this comes out, it's gonna fucking rock like hard, man. It's gonna be
Oh
so
man,
good.
this is badass, dude.
It truly is, dude. I mean, it'll. This is kind of the hard part of this whole deal. Is like I have to set aside my own project because I need money. But I am very proud of the other project. I don't know if you can catch the Easter eggs in this panel.
Oh
Those
yeah, dude, you
little,
got a little NJP coffee cup going
yeah.
on there.
How did that slip in there? Gee, what does
Oh,
that
that's
mean?
amazing, dude.
Wow, what does that mean? I wonder. I don't know. Um,
That
I don't.
stands for that
No,
stands
I
for
know what it stands
National
for.
Jewish Pride, right?
There you go. National Jewish Pride. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah,
Dude. You
yeah, man.
fucking I because
Dude, I know all about kosher stuff, bro.
because they're our greatest ally, right? Our greatest
Oh,
friend.
dude,
You know.
I I was just eating a bagel today, bro.
No, oh man, I'm really impressed, man. Really impressed. Um, there's actual breastfeeding in this comic book. I don't know what's wrong with me that I feel like I have to put this in there. I'm being facetious. Like I want to break a barrier. This has like never been done in comics before, and
Oh, are you talking about the breastfeeding?
yeah, and the thing of it is that I'm trying to represent family. That
Yeah,
among the fascists, these are the only people who are actually put family first. And this sort of like Christian nationalists hanging out
yeah.
with this team. They work together, and they're trying to save Militiaman. The old dude is actually an angel, so like that's
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
like yeah, it's like Christian nationalists are gonna love this story, you know. Um, I'm feeling like really guilty about the stuff I said about my Christian friend. Um, but
No, dude, it's understandable, man.
yeah,
I've got really good Christian friends and they know where I stand and I know where they stand. And I don't expect them to stop trying to spread their ideas, and they don't expect me to stop trying to spread my ideas. And
yeah,
we just try to focus on what we do agree on when we talk with each other, you
right,
know?
right. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's. I think that if he actually did not have any egocentric response to what I said, he could actually grow spiritually from it. That he he's not stupid. Like he's a very very smart guy, and he understands the Bible really, really well. And of all the Christians I know, I would certainly say I respect him the most.
Man,
But
watch out. People that start understanding the Bible, uh, that's that's how I started out, bro. That's all I'm
okay,
saying.
yeah, I mean, I know your journey. I know your journey. So like that's fine. That's fine. But what am I trying to say here with this guy? So yeah, he's you know, I want him to be careful that the ego is not like, I don't know, deceptive per se, or if you're going to be a sincere Christian, you can't be so egocentric. I feel like that it's ego in a sense, I think, is like the enemy of spirituality. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Um, yeah, is he Protestant or Catholic?
he
Your
doesn't
buddy.
affiliate with any of those titles. It doesn't.
Oh,
He
gotcha.
follows.
Okay.
Yeah, he follows the Bible, and like in his words, like nowhere in the Bible does it say that you're supposed to make churches and that priests and nuns exist or any of that. That's all man-made institutions. Like I just follow the Bible, which I respect. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, good for you. But yeah, there it is.
You know, we got a couple of other comments here.
Hit me up, man.
Yeah, Flash has a laugh emoji. Uh, I think it was about Papa Palps getting rejected from art school.
That's
But
funny.
then Western Kind says, I'm fixing to stop wilding if you don't gives me that Sprite that you drinking.
Oh, dude, I see so many videos like that on Twitter every day. Like just chimp outs. You know what I'm talking about? That just
Oh yeah, have you seen The
so
Adventures of Tyrone?
no, I don't know what's that.
Oh man, this stuff is hilarious.
Okay.
I'll have to send you another link sometime. It's on Odyssey. I forget the name of the guy that creates it, but it's one of our guys.
Oh, okay.
It's it's really good. It's really funny.
Can you describe
Um,
it? Like, what is it exactly?
there's this guy named Tyrone, and he's like living at his mom's house,
Yeah.
and the electricity goes out in one of the episodes, and she says, "You got to get your ass out there and get some money." And Tyrone's like, "Shit, I gotta go get a job."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he meets up with this dude, and the guy says, "Shit, you just gotta get the catalytic converter out of the car, and it'll turn a normal car into a Cadillac."
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And it's
Okay,
just
I get
stuff
it.
like that throughout
Yeah, I get it.
throughout these
No,
whole
I do.
things, and
Right. 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 Oh my god.
it's it's pretty funny, dude.
I can
But
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, it's all about Papa Drank and watermelon fried chicken.
Okay, I got you. I got you, bro.
It says,
Right.
Flash Gorgon says, I've noticed breastfeeding is very controversial in the US, and in France, it's not at all.
Well, you're French, I mean, that's like the thing, Europe in general is way more natural and like not sort of lenient, I guess, on nudity in general, and like TV and
Yeah,
nude beaches and stuff. You guys are way more laid back. America has very, very strong Christian roots and
yeah.
norms, and very,
Puritan.
yeah, very Puritan. I mean, that's what America is kind of founded on, is so many people escaping religious persecution in Europe. Um, I mean that's the founding early stories of that. So yeah, of course, America's changed a lot since the 1700s or whatever. But um, I just find that interesting. That's what I gotta say. And there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I find that interesting too.
It's good to have Flash on. We get some interesting convo.
Yeah. Western Kind says it is just like women cutting their hair short and rejecting their natural role as a mother and homemaker, one that tends to domestic matters. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah, I have like that's another thing I feel real strongly about, is like women shaving their heads and kind of masculinizing pretty Big enemy of feminism over here.
Western cunt says, give those infants that polluted titty milk. Shit.
Oh God.
Gotta get some soy formula and shit.
So you know, I
Sorry, that
I
last
don't know
part
the
was me.
shows like yeah. What you know? It's going on like 10:30 here, my bros, on a Sunday night. So it's kind of looking like Daddy O has gotta hit the road. I hate to spoil the fun and close the party down, but
Oh
I
no, dude, it's been a lot of fun, bro. And
well,
thanks for all the art advice and all the life advice, and
mm.
especially your art lesson, man. That was really killer. And getting
Yeah.
to see all these inked pages that I haven't previously gotten to see. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry
Well,
I'm not
it's
able to come on more often, bro.
I think we got to do more stuff together. There's a really good energy, you know what I mean? So like that would be a blast. I would like that a lot. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for everyone in the chat. I hope I don't think I got a chance to say hi to everyone. Roman Sprolies, welcome, and welcome to all the new folks that have swung by. I don't know if you're still around, but great to have a ton of new friends coming in. That's awesome sauce. You guys have a good night, and Luke, I will see you later in our chat group. Okay.
Hails, bro. Take care.
All right. Hail. God bless. Love you guys. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Cheers.